Hello, everybody, and welcome as we get ready for event number 8 of Season 4. Todd Harris alongside Emily Nagel, Stevie Morrison. We're excited to be back down in Australia, Sydney. Stevie, historically, this has been one of the most exciting venues we go to all year round.
Yeah, I think for most sailors around the world, it's one of the iconic places to go sailing. So hasn't felt like the luckiest season wind-wise yet. We've had too much time with 2 hulls in the water rather than these boats actually foiling. So certainly this is one of the venues we'd hope to have a good bit of breeze. The forecast's not textbook. It's a classic. Right. It's never normally like this here, which I think's one of the more well-known sayings in the sailing community. But we have got good wind tomorrow. It's going to be shifty. Going to be quite challenging out there on Shark Island for day 1. It's going to almost mean Shark Island's a bit of a roundabout in the middle of the race course, so a real tactical, challenging day. And then Lisa Darmanin, who's actually out in Sydney, she's given me a pretty hopeful forecast that we get the classic nor'easter on Sunday, which is kind of what we all want. We want it down the harbour and decent breeze. But yeah, looks okay.
Emily, with that in mind, then, how critical will the wing trimmer be for this stop?
Oh, it's going to be such a big difference, especially in Sydney Harbour, having a wing trimmer that knows the wings well and how to control them, but the communication between the driver, the trimmer, the flight controller, it's going to be critical. So on Saturday, Shark Island, or Genesis Island as it's being rebranded, is, like Steve said, a roundabout in the middle of the course. But then when it turns into the nor'easter on Sunday, it then creates this massive wind shadow over one side of the course. So you've got to be really heads out of the boat to know where your transition zones are, what the shift's going to be doing, especially when you're at that bottom gate and deciding which way you're going to go, because you've got the channel or you've got the wind shadow.
Yeah, I think what Emily's point that was really good there was communication. I think that is a role that we perhaps don't hear enough of on board, of how much the communication is often led from the wing trimmer. So they're kind of quite in the middle of the boat. They're very much driving the boat speed side of the boat, but they'll be looking at the wind quite close and in front of the boat and trying to communicate that. The flight controller's effectively playing with an Xbox remote control, head down, not really looking at what's happening. But if you imagine you've got the driver, you've got the wing trimmer, and you've got the flight controller, it's kind of like driving a car where the driver's driving, pretty much how it is. The wing trimmer's kind of got the pedals and a bit of the gear stick.
Gas, brake, and clutch?
Yeah, and they're doing that. And then blind is this guy that's now kind of an aeroplane, I suppose, flying, deciding how high it's going to fly. And so that communication from the wing trimmer as to what's about to happen to the boat next is crucial.
Yeah.
And so I think, it's one thing it would be great to hear a bit more of your Kyle Langfords, your Ian Jensens, your Tom Johnson, all these really top-level wing trimmers that we've got in the league. And I think they're really leading that communication. So how well they can get that out there on a day like tomorrow where it's shifty and very changeable is going to be a huge, huge role. But I think as well, for the strategists at the back of the boat, big day also, because you've got to have your head out the boat. If anyone that's sailing in the now is going to be struggling when we get out there tomorrow, you've got to be trying to look ahead.
You talk about communications. I want to touch you real quickly before I forget this. Big communication could be a problem as Nathan Outteridge comes on board for New Zealand. Peter Burling stepping away for the birth of a child. How well do you think how seamlessly does he slide into that?
Well, he's part of the Kiwi America's Cup team. So he's sailed with these guys plenty of times before.
No problems.
Yeah, I think it's
good. But it's a bit of a hospital pass, though, isn't it? I mean, they've just won 2 events in a row.
True.
And Burling's like, yeah, you got it, mate.
Don't mess it up.
Yeah.
Good for Apes.
Let's talk about the season so far. Obviously, this is the 8th event, the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix in Sydney. As we've talked about, everyone's looking forward to coming to this one. You guys made some great points. The flight controller, the wing trimmers, they'll be massively important. I want to ask you, Emily, I'll start with you and then I'll bounce over to Stevie. This is a point of the season where there's only, 5 events after this left. If you have any designs of being in the championship or in championship hunt when we get to San Francisco, it's kind of the go time is now.
Yeah, it's really on for those teams that are kind of in the middle of the pack to just start having a couple good events.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily have to win, but just to get into that top 3, get some points on the board, move up the ladder a little bit. There are some teams that are kind of out of the picture now, but, for the Danish, who else have we got in there?
France, Canada,
USA, Great Britain.
Yep.
They've really got to pull it out the bag and step up a little bit here.
Who has the most pressure this weekend other than Nathan Outteridge to not muck it up?
Taylor Canfield. I mean, he put in a fantastic performer. I mean, it's not all on Taylor, is it? The
Right,
US
the
team.
US team, yep.
You know, they've done such a good job. I mean, effectively overachieved for what I thought was reasonable in Abu Dhabi. They sailed brilliantly. But tomorrow, things are going to be happening real fast, and it's going to be changing real fast. And, you know, I think it's going to be, hopefully, they can take the pressure off themselves from the result and see it as a learning day and a growth day. But I think, you know, that's not how they've seemed to approach SailGP so far. They've come in kind of guns blazing and wanting to say, hey, we're still planning on turning up to win. But I think tomorrow could really be a school day for Taylor, for the Germans. I think one thing we've not maybe looked at is the crews have not really had a practice day. There's no wind today in Sydney. It's like glass. For Lisa Darmanin's hair, it's been a fantastic day. But for anything sailing-based, it's not been a great day. And I think the whole season, other than one day in Taranto, has been light. And tomorrow we're not looking at crazy windy, but we're looking at enough wind.
Proper winds.
And all the teams are not quite as practiced as they'd like to be. European teams are going to be jet-lagged. You know, how's that working? We're here in London, and I mean,
11-hour time
who knows
difference.
what we're going to be saying tomorrow at 5 o'clock in the morning. But
to Stevie's point, though, Emily, really quickly, with Content de la Pierre, the French have done really well in better winds, and that's the forecast is for building winds, especially on Saturday.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, last season we called them, you know, our big wind specialists, but, you know, they haven't performed quite as well this season. And regardless of the fact, you know, they did well in the big breeze last year, you still want to be doing well through a season to be in the habit of, you know, having that front of the fleet experience, being used to making those leading decisions around a course and get back into the good communication that they did have last season. So I don't think it's going to be easy for anyone tomorrow. You know, even our, you know, more experienced teams, the Aussies, the Kiwis, the Brits, it's still been a long time for everyone since they've had wind.
This is where you guys earn your money. Give me a prediction, Stevie. Who's in the final race, the event final? Give me your top three and who wins it all.
Australia, New Zealand, and Denmark. And I think that...
oh, come on.
It's probably going to be Slingsby, isn't it?
So you've got Australia, New Zealand, Denmark in the final.
Yeah, I mean,
with the
I've
Australians
not exactly thrown it all on the line there, have I,
true.
to be perfectly honest?
Did he steal your selections?
He did. I was literally asked about this an hour ago, and those were the three I gave.
And Denmark's been probably one of the most consistent
fine.
teams.
It's fine for you to copy me, Emily. Don't worry.
I just want to be like you, Stevie. Well, I'll throw a twist in there and say the Danish to take the win.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
just make it interesting.
They're owed one. It's been
They're
a
owed
while.
one.
They are. They've been
Come on,
most
Todd
consistent.
Harris.
them.
I know you like it up on that fence. Get off.
No one wants to hear my prediction, but if I'm going to go on a prediction, I'm going to say USA, Emirates GBR, and Australia in the final, and I think Australia gets the win.
Copy that.
Yeah, I don't know. I could be wrong. I have been.
I think you might be.
Yeah, they get two. Anyways, look forward. We have 2 days of racing. Of course, 3 fleet races coming on Saturday, and then 2 more fleet races coming on Sunday before the event final, where we all think Australia will be there, but the other 2, it could be that. The KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix Sydney. We hope you enjoyed the coverage. So for Stevie Morrison, Emily Nagel, I'm Todd Harris. Hope you enjoy the coverage.